Hello and welcome. And if you're new here, my name is Abby Avalon, where I'm literally just talking about real life things that are happening to me and what I'm learning along my own personal journey. So hopefully I can help you in your journey as well. One thing I really want to talk about today is the idea and the understanding of not being perfect. And yes, you may relate or you may not relate, but I know for me, and I know for a lot of the women that I work with, perfectionism is a very real thing. Sometimes when we are so centered naturally in our ego, it can be a really challenging thing to be able to identify where we are coming from when we are operating in the world. Thing I have to say that I'm not very proud of myself for in the last probably 6-8 months has been how I've been operating and treating people around me in my world. I'm a very loving and nurturing person. I love to connect deeply and I love to nurture the people that are in my life. But I have been in environments and I have been in places where I haven't really been the best version of myself. I started using a lot of mean joking, like my quick and witty sense of self, thinking I was being funny, and then started to reflect on how insecure I actually was being deep down. And to be human is to be somebody that sometimes naturally projects things into the world and you don't always realize it. I want to highlight something in this is, though I'm not proud, this is something I've been reflecting on a lot. I am not going to let myself just sit in shame. And that's something that I've come so far with. I used to be somebody that when I would do something wrong or I felt in the wrong, I would spend so much time just sitting in the shame of what I had done instead of just choosing a different path. Work I've done in my own nervous system and my ability to hold capacity in myself and my own good and bad has allowed me the ability to reflect, and in that, knowing I wasn't showing up as the best person or I wasn't really being the best version of myself at all, it really helps me kind of come back to this really deep-seated sense of truth. And this is where I really hope you resonate. But that deep-seated sense of truth actually is that it's not that I was just operating from a place of ego, but I was operating from a place where I kept furthering myself from the Word of God. I stopped reading the Bible. I stopped listening to the sermons. I stopped going to church. And that in itself should have been a huge indicator. Whatever your religious background or belief system is, all I know is that for me, God is somebody that centers me. He brings me back down to myself and he keeps me in a perspective of humanness and less ego. When we start projecting ourselves onto the world, we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace and understanding that we also have insecurities and that we also have a smaller sense of self that is just trying to speak. Almost like this inner voice within us that is maybe sad or angry or holding on to a lot of things, but in our external self, we're not allowing ourselves the space to actually talk about it or to talk through it, or maybe we just have yet to come to the answers. And that is something that I deeply resonate with. Is I can say that I just didn't feel like I had the answers. And when I didn't have the answers and I didn't feel like I had a way out, I kind of isolated myself from either A, just like speaking to it because I got so frustrated that I didn't have the answers, and I B, stopped actually having those conversations with God. The next thing I want to talk about is faith. Well, faith is a word that we hear a lot about. And if you aren't in the church, and trust me, I want to say this, I'm still a baby. Like, I am a baby in the church. I go to church. Like, I barely know the Bible. Like, I didn't grow up in a religious household. I didn't grow up very spiritual either. I just grew up with my dad saying that there's something bigger out there. Now, my dad is actually a Christian man, so it's kind of ironic that I never really learned those principles, but a sense of faith is something that really has helped me. And let me break this down a little bit more. So when we are going through things in life where we are struggling to find our own answers, when we're struggling to even have a good conversation with ourselves, big key indicator I always like to point out for my clients is, like, if you're waking up in the morning and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is something negative, a worry or a fear, you're not talking enough with God. Because God does not wake you up in the morning with fear in your heart. God wakes you up in the morning with hope and light and joy and so much abundance. And he's given you so much. And what he wants for you is to be in prosper. He wants you to be in gratitude. And so if you're waking up and you're having a lot of negative thoughts, you need to realize that there's a conversation that you're missing. Trying to constantly have that conversation with just yourself. Oh, you need to be more positive. You need to be better. It's like, that's great. We love personal development. We love working on ourselves. I think that that God's given us the gift of discernment and the ability to have perception and awareness. But at the end of the day, if you're not actually talking to him and you're not giving away the things that you can't control, you're going to try to take on your human superpowers that do not even come close to or compare to what he's capable of. So when we have faith and we can trust in the moments, and we can trust in the phases of life that we've gone through and where we think and feel like we're at, we need to be able to turn to those conversations and have massive trust and be able to turn things over and be able to start to live a life that is more full and more abundant, because we are having that conversation and we are putting our trust in faith that things are working in our favor. Faith helps you rewire your entire thought process. And the more you listen to the sermons, the more you read the books, the more you pick up your Bible, the more that you choose to go on those walks and have good thoughts, the less you listen to the negative music or listen to the noise of the world, the happier you're going to be. Having those conversations with God instead of scrolling your reels on Instagram is going to change everything. The next thing I want to talk about today is doing what you say you're going to do. Now, we can talk about the word discipline, but I want to take it a little bit deeper and talk about the reason why you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do. I can tell you from personal experience, and definitely something I've reflected a lot on in these last couple months, has everything to do with saying I'm going to do things, teaching on the things that I say that I'm doing, but not doing it because deep down I felt this lingering self-sabotage that made me feel like if I have a perception of me, then that perception of me is good enough. I was missing the actual connection point to doing the thing. And the reason I was missing the actual connection point, now listen to this because this is super important. The reason I was missing the actual connection point was because I was planting and rooting my sense of self in my ego, in my humanness. And I was trying to be the CEO of my own business instead of letting God be the CEO and me working for him. And when I was trying to just work for myself, it was self-serving. Self-service only lasts for so long. That's where the motivation wears off, the discipline wears off. That's where all of the desire to build and create and live a fruitful life starts to wither away, because your human self is only capable of so much. When you are powered through God's will and you are powered through the higher power of the divine, and you understand and know that what you're doing, the service you're giving and the life that you're living and the purpose that you're fulfilling is not actually for you, but it's for God, and he's working through you, and he's working through all of your gifts and your abilities, and in the forge that he put you through when he did put you through the fire. That means that everything that you're doing in this life is for service. It's to help others. It's to be abundant through what you are doing for him. And when we start to have that conversation a little bit deeper, and we start to actually ask those questions of God of, hey, how can I show up better? What do I need to give today? I did it before this video. It was just like, I just felt the call, like, okay, God, I hear you. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to record. And so much more has come through me just in this video alone than any other script I've written for any other video or any reel or any post I've ever made. So in that, how can we have conversations with God where we're asking him to be the CEO of our life, asking him to show us the way, when we're asking him to take all the things from us that we are having a hard time with, giving him that special plate of all the goodies, that and just saying to him, hey, can you take everything off of this plate? I need you to take everything off of this plate so that way I can show up and I can be the version of me that I need you, that you need me to be in order for me to fulfill the destiny and the service that I know you put me here to do. What I really want to say today is that there's a lot of things that are happening in our world. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of demand. I don't know what age you are, but I just turned 30 years old. I can tell you that the reflection and the desires that I have for my life, I feel like a lot of times I'm so far behind, or I'm not where everybody else is. And I look at that and I have to ask myself, if God had a plan for me, if God, it makes me kind of emotional to even talk about this, but God has a plan for me. God has a specific design and a specific purpose that I am here to fulfill. And I know that. And I am just now a baby at really talking to him, really asking him for that guidance, continuing to lean into him. If my discipline in my life right now is just finally now focused on what I can do for him versus what I can just do for me, then I think exactly where I'm at is where I'm meant to be. I think I needed to experience going through multiple seasons of my life where I felt so good and then so lost, and then so good and so lost. And the lostness that I was feeling was that withering away of that self-serving desire, and God coming back in every single time there to catch me and say, it's okay. I see what you're doing, but I want you to serve me. I want you to know that I'm here to help you, and I will give you the answers. You just need to come to me more. And I would say, oh yeah, absolutely. I will do that. And then I would do it for a little bit, and then I would stop. And in that, I think we have to understand too, and this is like me speaking for myself, is like that voice never goes away. He never goes away. So if you ever need a voice of reason, if you ever need something to make sense, if you ever just doubting or in question, like I have been, and coming out of this and returning back to like the actual necessities of discipline, that's not just going to the gym, it's not just feeding yourself good food or having a nice body. It's literally just asking every single day, what can I do for you? And that's where miracles happen and blessings happen, in that sense of peace in your heart that you crave every day when you wake up. And if you have anxiety, or if you have depression, or you're struggling with your mental health, you have to have that conversation. The more you have the conversation, the more he takes off your plate, the more at ease you feel. This is something that I'm learning every single day, more and more. And if you ask me 6 months from now where I'm at with this, I almost promise you and can guarantee that who I'm going to be in 6 months from now that I'm in this space and I am deeply connected to what I am doing in service to him, I promise you that in 6 months from now, my life will be changed. And if my life can be changed, then your life can be changed. So I don't want you to give up. I want you to keep going. I want you to keep talking, keep having the conversation. And if this was a message that you needed today, maybe send it to somebody that you know that could use this message as well. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'm sending you all of my blessings.